Sorry about that. I keep getting dropped. Um, Anyways, so the attic does have insulation, but it's stuffed in the rafter spaces, so it's better to always insulate the floor. They had some in the floor, you know. The attic is in the sheeting. Okay, probably not the best. It's not as effective at that point. This house also had a old driveway, and you could see how it's kind of deteriorated. And it used to have a garage. City of Cleveland sometimes requires you to reinstall a garage. Maybe you're going to get lucky on this one. You won't have to. Also, there is some old brick pavers. So I don't know. You might be putting a new driveway in here someday in the future. There's probably some footers here. There's a pipe you see way back in the corner, and there's a pipe right there. So I don't know what those are. Sometimes those were gas lines. Sometimes they were gas lines underground. So you need to ask the homeowner what these are for. It's a solid concrete. It looks like somebody bent it and maybe connected to that pipe. Who knows? I'm not going to research that at this time. You do have an older foundation here, and also you have this kind of a wetland, marshy area in the back that will be wet, some land in the back, and I'm not sure if this backs up to a dump or not. There could have been an old dump back there. You should do your own research. I'm not here to do that today. You also have some businesses with some garbage in the back, and you might have some noise and things like that. So it's kind of like a industrial house next to an industrial spot. The chimney looked okay. However, you may have to do some tuck pointing up in the attic. I noticed some tuck pointing areas that could use some maintenance. The steps, you could adjust them. They're not level. There's some storage down below. There's a door that opens it up, and then you can see here. I'm not sure we can get in here. I'll take a picture, but you can see some of the old wood. So here, water will leak in here right out. So when you got areas like this that water hits and will leak inside and leak down to your basement. So yeah, there is areas where you could get leakage. All right, so you might have to do some maintenance to the vinyl siding. And then of course you're always going to have some deteriorated wood and maintenance. Now here there's a newer PVC pipe, indicating maybe they've done some maintenance, maybe they've done some waterproofing, maybe they did some water management. I really can't tell. The basement was kind of dry, and we'll see if we have enough light to get down in there. The windows aren't the best windows that they put on this home. They did rip out the old windows, so we don't have the friction issue. Some of the windows might need some adjustments, okay? And they did caulk and paint them. And for the most part, being 100 years old, you're going to have some deterioration, okay? It's impossible not to. You can see like the neighbor has still older windows. And then they kind of try to clean up some of the rotted sill, and you can see they probably use like a pressure washer. They did replace the basement windows with glass block, and then also the grading is not the best. The neighbor's property kind of slopes towards this basement. It's not bad, but it's not optimal either. And then here you can see, I smell wildlife. So there's animal living there. That's why I didn't crawl underneath there, because I'm not going to get attacked by whatever's down in there. And it could be a skunk, could be a raccoon. I don't know, probably not a groundhog. So the front yard's kind of small. Be careful digging for electrical, maybe a handrail, okay? Roof, like I said, 5 to 10 year range. It's not new, but I think we have some life left to it. We are kind of an industrial area, and we could add more ventilation, okay? The siding, it's better than painting it. They did okay. It wasn't the best job, but you know what? For the most part, it was in good shape. There's some areas that are damaged, some areas that need to be repaired. All right, we'll go inside now. And, the floor, they've been fixing it. You can see a little bit of deterioration, but these are old wood floors. This is the southern exposure. Southern exposure gets all the rain. This panel might come out. There's a little bit of rotted wood here, but I'm not going in there because Mr. Animal's in there. Okay, the storm doors are kind of beat up, but they work. Okay, and so we'll go inside now. And the carpets are old, floors are old. Some of these outlets,
throughout the house are open ground. That's typical. This house has a 2-wire system, and then our cold air returns aren't connected. You might want to connect some of them in the basement. But, you know, the rooms do have cold air returns, okay? They smoked in here, which is going to make it tough. You're going to see the smoke damage. So you got to wash before you paint. Okay, some trim missing here and there. And I'm going to bet the carpet, there's a spot where maybe the carpet, when you rip up the carpet, you may have maybe some floor work that'll need to be done. All right, so the ceilings are these old panels. Material type is unknown. Kitchen floor is kind of beat up. You're going to have to redo it. I did test the water. The hot water's on. You can see, you know, whenever you have an empty gas, make sure you put a cap on, a couple holes. That could have been an old gas. The gas could have went through there and they moved it. Who knows? All right, but these are the old plastic tiles. And, you know, you might be remodeling, and you should be painting any outlets. All painted outlets should be replaced. That GFI properly works. This whole thing works. And then what I noticed in this house, tons of, everything was on a pull chain. Some ceilings that had repairs, some cracks. You're going to get that. Some doors need adjustment, some windows need adjustment. Very normal, very typical. And, you know, like here's a chandelier kind of thing with a pull chain, right? So you probably want to do some 3-way lighting. You might want to even add some additional outlets, okay? The open grounds basically means you got, but they're not all open ground. I tested most of them, and some are actually grounded properly. We are missing doors. Just so you know, this used to be a 2-family, a small 2-family that was converted, okay? We still have some old locks that need adjustments. We got some cracked floor tiles. You see the cracked tiles. This drain is a little bit slow upstairs, okay? It does work. This toilet, one of the toilets was loose. That's just an access panel where they ran new plumbing. Most of it's copper. And so there is some galvanized at the main that might restrict some pressure, and it's not a lot. Most of it, you got some shutoffs that are dripping. See that thing's drip, drip, drip. So you want to fix some of that. That's pretty easy. This bathroom has a fan. Okay, the upstairs doesn't, and the fan does work. Moving on, be careful of any tripping hazards you might have. And then maybe we'll go to the basement first. This house was severely termited sometime in the past, and somebody, I'm going to guess 30, 40 years ago, did a repair because they replaced some of the joists. Now, I did not see any termite pesticide applications on the outside. Maybe it was chloridine done in the past, maybe it wasn't. Maybe you may have to put a termite system in because there is evidence of past termites. So these walls are actually pretty dry. They did do some insulation, some foaming, all right? They didn't do, and you can see the white, a little bit of white mildew. That means that this basement, before somebody grabbed it and painted it and fixed it up, they probably had some moisture down here, okay? The columns weren't bad. They look good. The walls structurally are okay, you know? I mean, I wouldn't, you know, land any helicopters next to the house, but for the most part, I think they're in good shape. These are the cold air returns that aren't connected. That's something you may consider connecting. All the white that you see is mildew. You could just wash that off if you'd like, all right? There's your knob and tube wiring kind of coming across here. You can see where they had 2 meters at one time. It was converted to a single at one time. And here you can see a lot of termite damage, and you can see the joist right next to it, okay? And so these joists were repaired in the past. There's our water meter, and if you're going to run a ground, it's better to run a continuous ground, not a jumper. You could also see some galvanized piping, okay, and there's your shutoff. They did parch this wall, so I'm going to guess there's some cracks, but I don't know. It's maybe the wall looks sound to me. It is a structural wall. And here you can see where they had termite damage. You can see how severe that was, and then they sistered it. You know, they put a joist next to it. So this house went through severe termite damage. Look at that one there. All right, that white tape on the duct is probably asbestos. Very typical for the era. And you can see some joists that were put in a while ago, and you can even see the floor that was re-leveled and replaced. Furnace is not new, but it's not ancient. It looks good, and here's our cold air return. So some are connected. You can see them connected here, and maybe we could connect a few more, okay? You should never have a cold air return register in the basement because it causes negative pressure. You do not want negative pressure in your basement, okay, for a lot of reasons. Radon gas, odors, moisture, all kind of things, okay? Plus then it causes ice dams. So here's a cold air return not connected,
And then you can see how this electrical real sloppy splice. Not bad, but there's a lot of electrical that could use adjustment. So you need an electrician, clean up. You can't have like duct tape outlets, broken outlets, open grounds. I'm not into pull chains either in bedrooms. You want to be able to walk through a bedroom. The floors are typical. When they built these homes, they didn't have plastic, so you're going to get some hydrostatic pressure always. So this is all normal, a little efflorescence, a little bit of moisture. Sometimes you get some heaving. They had 2 furnaces here at one time. They took one out. Okay, and they had 2 water heaters at one time. They took one out. The water heater's running nice. It's working. Some old gas lines. Some gas lines are still galvanized. And the water heater works. And it's a 40-gallon tank. I don't know if you can read that. Maybe, maybe not. And, you know, it still has a little bit of life to it, okay? All right, so we got some time left on the water heater. We have some shutoffs that are older, some shutoffs that are corroding, like here, but they're not dripping. That's 100. This electrical box is newer, so somebody did put in a box. It's 100, and knob and tube wiring, and you got some plug covers missing, and some also knockouts missing, and plug covers missing. Okay, then this is grounded. Be careful. Do not sit or lean on these. It does drain. So the only drain was slow was one of the bathroom drains, and so moving along. So structurally, we're doing good. The walls are good. You know, there's a lot of good things here. You know, maybe, we might pass. If we're going to rent this out, you're always worried about 1978, pre-78 homes because you got to do with the whole lead factor, right? And so, but you do have vinyl siding. You do have windows that have been replaced with vinyl. You know, you got to worry about the basement walls. I'll get you on some of that. But for the most part, it's not so bad. The floors aren't doing good. The laminate floors are old. They may or may not contain potential asbestos. We do have some white tape they used on the ducts. Also, potential asbestos. But you know what? That's what they used. And I don't know, as long as you don't eat it, snort it, or drink it, you might be okay. There are some joists that have holes in them. And there's a couple of, I already passed them. I'm not going back to them. But they did repair them with metal clips. Now, we do have an older piping for our sanitary line. You can see what happens over time. They start to rust, like here, right there. See the rust marks? And sometimes they leak. But, they've been patching it. You can see the splice patches, the copper patch, the copper drain patch, right? So they've been working it. You got an old house like this, this door was too big. It was a 36-inch door, and they cut it to fit the bathroom. Anyways, I'm not worried about shrinkage, cracks, and wood like that. I'm more worried about the termite damage. But if the floors upstairs look pretty good. I don't know. Maybe you just put a system in case. If this is kind of messed up, if you're going to rent this out, I don't know. You might want to try to level this. Okay, it does work, and it looks like this step has been, this irregular step has probably been here for decades. Okay, and so I'm moving slow because chances are this video is going to pixelate. Hopefully the sound won't pixelate, and we got dropped once already outside, so we are going on 14 minutes. So it looks like copper. I'm not going to open these up because I have one hand on the camera, one hand on the flashlight. So some of the floors, some doors missing. Let's head upstairs a little bit. And they did put a new back door in. A lot of the light bulbs are missing or burned out. So we got to get some light bulbs in here. This probably isn't the proper handrail, okay? But it works because I'm holding it and it's not falling out of the wall. I'm not sure, be careful, don't play football up here because these rails look like they have a couple of metal clips holding them. The upstairs bathroom, that's a vent. Toilet's okay. Drain slow, plug cover missing. No fan, all right? Old windows, and this was a hallway that they turned into a bedroom. So they converted this house. This used to be an old door. It's missing the glass on the other side. This is probably the old kitchen. You can see it was converted to a kitchen, and it's a room. We have one bedroom here. We have the living room here, and then we have the bedroom here. So I don't know how you want to do it. Some of the plaster is old, cracked, peeling paint, lights missing, pull chains, some windows are missing, trim on the sides if you want to put them on. Doors are good, some need adjustment. Ductwork's dirty, needs cleaning. Floors, hey, you can put carpet down if you want, or you could refinish them. They are 3/4 inch. Some have old coverings,
And these are the cold air returns that weren't connected. The basement cover plates missing 2-prong outlets throughout on the second floor. Little teeny holes, you know, you could patch those. No handrails, very steep steps. And here what happens is hot air goes right up to the attic. There is an attic door there that you want to close. And not only you want to close it, but you want to insulate it and weather strip it, because you don't have enough cold air returns on the second floor, so your positive pressure will cause air to go up and cause ice dams, right? So let's take a quick look. I'm not going to walk around up here. I'll put all this on your report. And so here we are in the attic. This is the insulation we talked about. You know, it's okay, but it's better to put it on the floor. And there is some in the floor, not a lot. So we could, you know, for the most part, there's some insulation we could improve. Some of the mortar joints in the chimney could use tuck pointing, all right? And then there's only one electrical coming up here, which is a knob and tube. And so you might want to repair the thermal bridget and thermal bypass at this door to minimize heat loss, especially in the winter, because you're going to have a big bill. The furnace is on. I didn't really mess with the controls because it's vacant, and I'm glad somebody left it on for me because I wouldn't have turned it on. But I left the front door open so I could hear it go on and off, you know, because the cold air will trigger it. And the hot water's hot. Hot water's working. Everything's working. Power's on. There is a lot of missing light bulbs or burned out light bulbs, okay? So I recommend maybe some electrical updating, mostly 3-way lights and pull chain lights. Electrical wasn't bad. I mean, every house that's going to be this old is going to have issues, okay? Every single one of them. But for the most part, I think this is probably, I'm kind of an investor too, but I haven't done it in years. I'd say it's probably not a bad house, okay? You could make a 4-bedroom out of it, I guess, with extra rooms. You know, you have to figure out, you got kind of a weird setup, you know? So you got all these extra rooms that aren't bedrooms, or you could have bedrooms that pass through bedrooms, right? And so I think that is 18, 19, 20 minutes. I will provide a report for you later today. They take 3 hours to type up. I'll get that to you. I didn't tell you everything. I'll put it on the report. But for the most part, this is the video, and it'll probably be pixelated, and I'll leave it on YouTube as I won't tell you which city it's in, okay, or the address and anything like that. So, hey, thanks for coming on. This is a virtual fast home inspection for my out-of-town clients. Whenever you guys buy houses, we could do this for you, or we could just do it, we could Skype it if you want to, or we could do it FaceTime. But I'm doing this just because my clients are out of town. So, hey, thanks for coming on. I'll leave this up for a while. Hey, Don. Yeah, I'm working today. So this is not one of my usual fun, the world crazy videos. It's an actual video of me working, but this is just the quick, skinny ending video. Hey, thanks for coming on. I got to go look at a few more things outside.